I've been meaning to do more crypto videos. Sometimes I show in my TC2000 videos the ETFs for GBTC, like for the or ETH, for the Ethereum or the Bitcoin. But the one area that isn't quite up to snuff with TC2000 is the crypto. Like they don't have all the different cryptos in there. They just have the sort of the stock market type stuff, the ETFs. So that's where TradingView comes in. And TradingView is free, but I ended up upgrading a while back to a paid plan because there's a variety of reasons, but I wanted to have a lot of different, I wanted to have a number of watch lists and alerts, because with crypto it's important to have alerts, if you're just to keep an eye on your crypto trades or stuff like that, or if you want to get in a trade at a certain point. So I thought I would go through what I have currently set up here. If you want to get TradingView, you can get up to $30 back if you upgrade. So I was using free for quite a while, but there's limitations. Oh yeah, the other thing that is limiting is the number of indicators. And so like I have stochastics here, MACD, and then I have some moving averages, volatility stop, and like even this one moving average, I had to use one that has three, or originally I had used a moving average that had 20, 50, and 200 in one indicator so that I could have more indicators. But you've got more options now. Volume is another one. So in order to have the indicators that I wanted, I didn't want to have to keep deleting one and adding one when I wanted something. So that's another annoyance. And the ads were popping up and stuff like that. So, if you're investing in trading and making money, hopefully, it's worth putting some money into some tools that make it easier and less annoying, and more efficient, and can save you money, like with the alerts and stuff like that. So I thought I would show you what I have. So the first obvious one is just the cryptos itself. So most of these are like US dollar. So I put whatever the crypto is. If you type in, say, Pirate Chain, ARRR, and then it'll pop up a bunch of options. You can use USDT is what I do. And I'll show you one that has Bitcoin in terms of the Bitcoin price relative instead of the US dollar. But this is the USD. And the volatility stops, I've talked about all this stuff before, but the red means, generally speaking, that you're in a downtrend. You could short if you want. And the green dots are the uptrend. And there's some little flips that happen, shorter term blips here like this, but it's not, we don't just use volatility stop, but that would be kind of like where you put your stop, potentially. Or just use it as an indicator of, that there's generally an uptrend happening, but you use other things at the same time. So what I've done is, if I type in some sort of crypto, I've got a whole bunch on here already, but when you right click, say you bring up one and you want to put it in a watch list. Okay, so first of all, we have watch list here, and we can say create a new list, and then you give it a name, and then when you right click on this chart, you can say add it to the watch list. And so you put it in whatever, and you can put it in multiple watch lists. So that's one reason why I signed up for a paid plan, is I have multiple crypto, and I have stock ones as well. But mostly, so this page here is the just the general cryptos in US dollars. And I put a red color on these because when you do scans, like a screener they call them, you can pick the color. So you just want to screen, that particular watch list. So in terms of technical stuff, if you look at my some of my videos, I've talked about where things kind of went downhill, and that was right around here when we had this big down candle right here. and this established a lower high here. And there's a bunch of things. You broke down below the 8 EMA. That's a good line. But once you got down below the 50 as well, it's just been an obvious downtrend. This little blip here, like there's ways you can avoid getting sucked into that, but it's not so bad. Like you try, and if it fails, you get out. It doesn't always work. But down here, momentum is below 0, the MACD, and that's usually a lower momentum, a lower chance of success versus being up above the 0 line. So when you're up above 0 is where generally you do better. So it's one way you could have avoided it. Downtrend, downsloping 50 days, another one you would have avoided because, it's not. The other thing is to establish an uptrend, you really need a higher low. So like you broke through this downtrend, but it never established a low, a higher low. It just failed from that spot. So instead of buying right at the breakout of that downtrend, you'd wait for a lower, a higher low to be established as support, and then you would buy in then when you see some strength coming in. But it never really got to that point. So that's the Bitcoin one, and we can look at. Oh yeah, so other thing. Obviously, we've broken down the 200. The other thing that was happening was like a 40,000 sort of support. If we go back here, this was a support. That was a support there, and we've broken down below that now. So that's not a good sign. But at some point it will reverse. But like you can see how, even though you get really low stochastics, that doesn't mean it's never going to go down lower. It goes up a bit and then it curls back down, and it can establish even lower values. So you see here we were at a low stochastic, but it kept going down. So this low stochastic doesn't mean, it's never going to go down. And this one here, it kept going down. Obviously this right here where it reversed, it was the low spot. But you can get multiple touches of that as it goes down further. And even this went up and then back down again, and it's lower and lower and lower. So you don't just use stochastics as a end all be all of your decision making. If we look at Ethereum, so I'm starting with the big boy, and then the market cap, and then the Ethereum. Let's go. Let's see here. Obviously another downtrend here. Same scenario, broke down through the 50. This was a recent support, and we're right at that spot, but it's a bit low now. 3,000 is a nice, people like round numbers, 3,000, but we're right at this low of 2,800 issue, 2,800. But this is a bad, ugly downtrend, so we'd want to see an uptrend, but not just that. I mean, obviously you can get it in when it breaks right up through this downtrend here, but this is like establishing a new higher low. So it's a bit higher up. You don't get the full gains, but that would be a better indicator, a safer spot, where you've established that uptrend is reestablishing itself. You've got other ones here, Cardano, and they're obviously not looking great either. So that's the US dollar one. And then I've got one which is all related to BTC. So this is, instead of pricing it in terms of US dollar, I price it in terms of Bitcoin. And that gives you a relative strength. And I'll show you why I do that in a bit. But instead of just comparing to US dollar, I compare everything to Bitcoin. And so these graphs are in terms of Bitcoin. So that's where you can determine the stronger cryptos in terms of relative strength. So obviously right now, because there's a downtrend here, this is also a couple things I've added was dominance. So this shows you the overall dominance of the crypto in terms of market cap. So like Ethereum, has been in this downturn here, but it was going up and establishing dominance until December. So you can look at these, but just because it's up like this doesn't mean it's a buy. If it's got a positive value, it's the overall chart. And so the next graph or the next page, I have a crypto screener. Nothing is showing up here, but what I've done There was a few on there. There were a few until recently. I've put here that that the the price, like the last, it's called, the price is above the 50. The simple moving average 50 is above 200. The 20 is above the 50. So it's pretty conservative. And the MACD is above in terms of the signal. So nothing right now is showing up. But it's there was a few recently until the MACD probably turned down. But if we go to the other chart, I'm just going to sort this by symbol. If we look at Atom, let's say, that was like Cosmos. It was in this uptrend relative to Bitcoin, but you can see here it hit the peak. And so a lot of times, even with relative charts, it works. Like the resistance lines and stuff like that works. But we hit a bit of a block right there. But this was establishing. You can see here momentum was up above the 50, at 20 above the 50, 50 above the 100. Everything was great except that now we have the momentum turning down. FTM, I think, was recently doing pretty well. Yeah. So everything is like 20 above the 50, 50 above 200. But we just have this downturn right here with the momentum. But basically that was in a stronger than Bitcoin. So sometimes if you're going to buy Bitcoin or other cryptos, you want to make sure that they're in a strong relative trend to Bitcoin. So if I pick, let's say Luna, Terra Luna, that was in a really good, that was in a relative strength, going up really nice. It might still recover. It's just right now there's a bit of a sell, but this is relative to Bitcoin. So what you want to do is focus on the ones that are stronger than Bitcoin, and you have to be, in my opinion, a little bit conservative, like where you have a nice uptrend. You don't want to just get it when there's a couple days of uptrends, like of better returns. You want to see a consistency, and a lot of times it doesn't last forever. So like if we look at Ethereum, it was generally beating Bitcoin quite a bit. So you have to decide what your criteria is going to be, because you can see how it goes up and down quite a bit. Like this is quite volatile, but there was a period back here. I'll just scroll back a bit. You see this big, huge parabolic swing where Ethereum just totally outdid Bitcoin, but then it had this big pullback. It kind of broke through, and now we started seeing a nice slope here from October to December, but now we're in this downtrend again. So Ethereum's been doing worse than Bitcoin. So one way to do this would be, use the 50, upsloping 50, or use a weekly chart just to get more of like something that's consistently doing better than Bitcoin. Don't try to fall for the little bursts of outperformance by a particular crypto. So basically, I've shown you that I've got a USD one, a BTC relative price chart. I've got the screener is free, but what I do with the screener is I pick I pick the MACD stuff, the moving averages, but you can see here I've got the blue. So I'm looking at blue, which is this color of Watchlists. So I'm scanning the relative strength BTCs. So I'm not looking at the moving averages and that of the just the general price. I'm looking at the relative strength. So that gives me the ones that are beating the market, like with a good uptrend momentum and stuff. So there are a few, but they're just pulling back right now. So when the momentum starts to swing back, there's certain ones that are, definitely better than others, out of the gate. They've got an uptrending relative strength to Bitcoin. Like this is Avalanche. You see here big swings, but you've got a general uptrend, and right now it's pulling back. But hopefully this is useful to you. It's not just about, you have to think strategically with crypto and find the ones that are outperforming. But like generally speaking, Bitcoin, when things go down, like a lot of the altcoins go down a lot more, unless there's like a local strength for some reason in a particular crypto. But in general, a lot of cryptos go down way more than the Bitcoin. So you can use Bitcoin as like your directional guideline. And right now, there's a downtrend here. So once things swing back and it's, then you would probably see the altcoins going up a lot more than Bitcoin. So if you want to get up to $30 back, you can sign up for a TradingView premium account. And basically, that gives me indicators. I didn't talk about alerts, but if you right click on things, like I can just put alerts at certain prices. In that way, I don't have to sit there and watch it all the time. So that's kind of a nice feature. Sorry, well, that's all I can show you for today. Something's going on with my computer. Hopefully you guys like that. We'll talk to you in the next video.